Hi everyone, Lady Amalthea here, and I appear to be a giant floating head with day 21, I believe, of 31 days of tarot. And today's question is, do you use the tarot for mediumship readings? Why or why not? If not, would you like to? Now, I have done very little in the way of mediumship. Years ago, I took the Doreen Virtue Angel Intuitive weekend course in here in Australia, up on the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast. I don't remember. In Queensland, anyway. Back in about 2007 or 2008, a while ago now, and I I really enjoyed it. This was before she went all weird and turned against all this kind of stuff. But one of the things we did do was mediumship. And I found I was actually pretty good at it. But it's not something I've ever done since. And there's no actual reason for it. It's not that I have an issue with mediumship. I talk to my dad on a semi regular basis. I was at a full moon circle last night, and we called in our ancestors, and he dropped in to say hello. So that was pretty cool, and I cried a bit when it was time for him to leave. My dad passed away 3 years ago, so yeah, it's not like he was, standing next to me in the flesh. But yeah, he does visit on occasion, and I go to his gravesite on certain dates, certain occasions as well. And so he's the spirit I've communicated with the most over the years since he's been gone. And yeah, every now and then in ceremony he comes to me, and he makes himself very known. He's very distinctive energy. I guess it's pretty easy to recognize your own dad. But yeah, I've only done mediumship readings on one occasion for one person, but I definitely got the person she was thinking of, which was her deceased grandmother. And I could smell lilacs, and I don't actually know what lilacs smelt like. Like, I'd never consciously smelt it before, but like I could smell this thing, and I'm like, this is lilacs. I know this is lilacs. So it was a very intense experience. I just, it's not something I've ever tried to do since. Like I said, there's no real reason. I've contacted my dad a few times, but usually not on purpose. Um, yeah, unless I'm visiting him or I call upon him. Sometimes he just pops up. He does that. It's totally his style. um, and he's still the man I remember, that's for sure. Um, I would like to give mediumship a go again. I think it can be very healing for people to be able to have that kind of communication and just kind of know what's going on with their loved ones. I I guess it's complicated for me because I don't entirely know what I believe. Um, at the time when my dad died, I was going to church on a pretty much a weekly basis, and it was also around that time when he passed away that I lost my Christian faith, because like everyone was saying, he's with God now and he's gone home to God. And my dad was terrified of dying. Like, he had esophageal cancer. He was a pretty much a lifelong smoker, and unfortunately it caught up with him. And one of our last conversations, he told me how scared he was and how he didn't believe there was, anything out there. And I guess losing him, I lost my faith in the Christian God. Um, and I stopped going to church because I just couldn't bear it anymore. And I went back down the pagan path, and I'm really glad I have. It's been quite healing for me, because I guess I found a community that was the community I needed. Not, I have nothing against my Christian friends. I know some lovely people who have been very supportive of me. Um, my one of my pastors from my church actually came to the palliative care hospital the night my father was dying, and stayed with us for as long as he was able to. And he also did my dad's memorial service. And so, like, I have a lot of respect for the Christians I know. The Christians in my life I'm very lucky that they're good people, very loving people. But I just feel at this time in my life, Christianity is not for me, and paganism is what I need. And I know that's difficult for some of the people in my life to kind of accept, but it's definitely the path that I need to be traveling, um, because this way I guess it helps me stay connected with my dad. And um, actually, for a few months after he died, I wasn't able to do any readings at all because all I could feel was him, and I wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready for him. And I was actually, it's quite unfortunate because I was enrolled in a oracle class with Lucy Cavendish, who I've mentioned on this channel before, who's just an amazing witch. And I ended up being unable to complete it because I couldn't bear being with my cards, because it was just too painful, and I just could not handle it. It was like this horrific reminder of what I'd lost. And it was just really challenging for me at the time. And that's a big regret I have, is that I was unable to process that at that time and just kind of get with the program. And I feel like maybe we could have communicated in those early days, but it was too raw. It was too emotional. I don't really want to go into too many of the details, but my father was away for a few years before he died, and so I didn't see him. And suddenly we hear from him, and he's dying, and within 6 weeks he's back in the country. 6 weeks he's back in the country and dies by the end of it. And like, the whole thing was horrific. My dad was only 64 when he passed away, so he was quite young. And so, like, that was a pretty difficult experience. The last few years have been quite hard. Sorry, I'm gonna have to stop because I'm just getting too emotional, but thank you for watching.